We're here in Austin, Texas at the Austin-Bergstrom International Airport project, where we are expanding the west end of the Barbara Jordan terminal in preparation for future expansion. My name is Mark Blacklin. I'm Virtual Design and Construction Manager at Hensel Phelps, based out of Austin, Texas. Project is going very well. We started in January of 2024, and we are well underway with the project, and things are going along quite smoothly. What drew me to virtual design and construction was the application of technology to improve the rate and the safety that we have on our projects. In order to coordinate with our other trade partners who are often located at remote offices, we use a lot of Autodesk products, Navisworks, for example, in order to bring all that content together, make sure it is clash-free, constructible, in order to meet the project schedule and get everything done on time. As part of our construction process at Hensel Phelps, early on after we are awarded a project, we bring our trade partners to the table to run full building information model coordination, where all the designs, the contract drawings are used to create the fabrication drawings that the trade partners are going to use to install their scope of work. What that entails is modeling all of the different elements, whether it be ductwork or plumbing, fire suppression systems, and even architectural and structural, as to what that building is going to consist of, in order to make sure that there are no issues when it comes to actually constructing the building in the field. We aim to fully construct that building in a digital sense before it ever gets constructed in the field.
Yeah, I'm Phil Randel, area superintendent here with Hensel Phelps. Been with Hensel Phelps for about 8.5 years or so now. Hensel Phelps is a general contractor, right? So we don't do a lot of the work ourselves. We contract it out to different trade partners. So we've got our mechanical guys, our plumbers, our steel guys. On this project, we're fortunate enough to be self-performing the concrete, which means that we do that work in-house with our own employees. So I've got a concrete placement scheduled for Tuesday of next week, but in order to get that concrete from the concrete truck to where it's going to be placed, I've got to use what's called a telebelt, so it's essentially a big conveyor belt that'll take the concrete from point A to point B. But our site is very limited, so I've got to be able to squeeze this big telebelt into a small space, and the thing will show up at 4 o'clock in the morning for 5 o'clock concrete. I don't want to be trying to figure out where I'm going to fit that thing at 4 o'clock in the morning when I got concrete on the way. So coordinating all that work with the work that we do as the general contractor itself, coordinating between trade partners and the owners, making sure that everybody has what they need, material, tools, manpower. It's here on the right day, right time, and it's the right stuff. Quality product, make sure we're installing what needs to be installed, where it needs to be installed, and when it needs to be installed.
My name is Maurice Clarke. I am a senior VDC manager in the Southeast region, and with Mark Blacklin, the co-chief pilot for the Hensel Phelps corporate drone program. I've been with Hensel Phelps for 18 years. Early on in my career, I remember interning at that time. Didn't know who Hensel Phelps was, didn't know the company very well, but I had mentioned it to some family members, and I remember one of my cousins saying that Hensel Phelps is a great company to work for. It brought me back to my family, right? I was going to school in Missouri, and I was able to be closer to family working with Hensel Phelps. This company is over 85 years old, which in itself is an achievement. It's highly process-driven, but the people make it what it is. I mean, I like hearing from people that aren't part of the construction industry that say, hey, I can recognize a Hensel Phelps job site. So the quality, the safety is also a big part of that as those processes. But again, the people are who make it that way, right? It's the ownership and the integrity of those people to help foster relationships with our clients, foster relationships with in the communities where we're building. And that kind of is one of the big differentiators for me between Hensel Phelps and some of the others out there in the industry. When I was young in my career, one of the projects we worked on was Eden Rock project on Miami Beach. One aspect of that in working at that space is there's an amount of sand that cannot leave the site. It's a coastal control line. To understand how much of that dirt we needed to move to excavate, but make sure it never left the site, was one critical aspect of this project. It took, at that time, 2 weeks for an experienced field engineer to map that, figure out the quantity, and get that back to the general superintendent. That was 17 years ago. Today, whether it's the drone technology, where that's the terrestrial LiDAR, that can be done in an afternoon.
One way that the drone flights and that technology helps us is we can see it on the computer before we can go see it on site. So right now we've got weekly BIM coordination meetings where we bring all the trade partners in and they fly through the model, see where the clashes are. And it's real-time measurements, real-time pictures. So I know, okay, well, last week there was a stockpile of soil right here that I need to get moved. But it's not just looking at a drawing and scaling the drawing. It's seeing actually what is in the field and what I need to get done before I can go place that telebelt and get my concrete placed.
One of the challenges here at the Austin-Bergstrom International Airport project was how can we use drones in order to assist the project? This project is really unique in that we are working in an active airport and trying to maintain access around the airport. We knew that was going to be a challenge in order to make it happen.
We've got to be invisible for the most part, right? So we can't disrupt the flights and the business of our owner. So a lot of coordination goes into that, a lot of pre-planning, just to make sure that everybody gets the job done when they need to get it done without interrupting the owner.
Keeping the airport fully operational while we're building on site on the apron area has been a challenge, but it's something that Hensel Phelps is taken care of very well. Our days on this project this time of year are starting pretty early in the morning. Our crews typically arrive on site about 2 a.m., put in a 10 to 12 hour day in order to beat the heat. As part of that, they are getting a lot done, but working over the night hours as well as through the day. The changes are significant and the heat becomes an issue.
Going back in time, so my first job was actually at the airport. We did the east expansion 5-6 years ago. Every time I fly out, I drag my wife and kids over there. Go look, this is what we did over here. This is where there. People can see kind of what you built. And it's kind of cool coming back here now doing the west expansion. That it's like, okay, we did east side, now we did the west side. And so chances are you're going to go see one of the gates that I helped build. So I enjoy airport work. It's good. Like I said, it's very challenging with all the coordination that's involved. But it's also very rewarding at the same time.
We've got a real diverse set of landmark projects all across the country with our multiple regions and our multiple business units from Mid-Atlantic in the Northeast to Hawaii and our Pacific region, stretching as far as Guam. We pride ourselves of each role gets an opportunity to experience the field, the office, and we learn to build. My experience of the world is through others. To me, the culture is everyone is an integral part. No one is above anyone else. What has always set us apart is that type of individual that is willing to challenge themselves, willing to make mistakes, but willing to grow with it.
If you hate coming to work every day, that's going to bleed into the quality of your work. And so to be successful, And have a successful project, you got to have a good culture and good people that you can get along with. If you're working with these people day in, day out, you see them more than you see your family. And so they really are kind of like a second family. So you bond with the people, you're sweating with them, you're grinding it out with them. And so I think just a testament of Hensel Phelps culture is not only the number of buildings and projects that we build, but also how long we've been around and how many people you see stay with Hensel Phelps.
There's a lot of things that make it exciting, make it challenging, make it worth, the cup of tea, cup of coffee in the morning to wake up to a challenge and say, okay, I'm gonna do this today and I'm gonna do it well.
Years ago, I never would have dreamed of using drones in my day-to-day work, but now we can't run a project without them. We find them to be really invaluable. Working with the Adventure team has been really great, not only to expand our hardware of our drone fleet, but also for support after the sale. For me, especially as a Part 107 pilot, it's been really exciting just to be able to fly at another international airport where Hensel Phelps is doing work. Really cool.